What's going on, YouTube? We are just getting started with a little Amazon FBA Q&A. We got the TikTok, as always, here. Should I start out with online arbitrage? Not if you want to do private label. If you want to do private label, then you should start with private label. If you want to do arbitrage, you should start with arbitrage. What up, G? What up, Arturo? One of the mentorship students up in here. Good to see you, my guy. Arturo, were you just on the call or not? I'm just glad I stocked up before the tariffs hit. There you go, Faith. You were 10xing. You were thinking ahead, which I love. Lost. Thank you for sharing the live, my guy. Good to see you as always. Everybody, good call, my guy. What up, Chris? Chris in the YT chat. Chris, you like YT more than TikTok? Chris in the YT chat, another one of the students. Nah, bro, I missed it. SMH got out late today. No worries, Arturo. I'll have that call posted into the curriculum when I get off live, and you will be able to watch the recording. What up, Ducci? Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Can you reply to my DM? If it was soliciting, probably not. Let's drop some likes. Let's go, Faith. Yes, let's run it up to 3K likes, 20 shares, and actually 3K likes, and we'll do 40 shares. And I'll show live Amazon sales. How much do you make on Amazon? 6 figures a month. Tariffs fear is here. Tariffs are here. The fear of them, we just got to learn to navigate them. The YT notifications work better, LOL. Fair enough. I wish TikTok we would have like 70 people in the live as soon as I started because of how many people have my TikTok notifications on, but nobody ever gets them. Please, I need help with Amazon. What do I do? Should I use SellerAmp and go into stores to start? That's a completely separate business model than I do, Five. I'm taking white label generic products of my own and branding them as my own. I sent you a product on Messenger. Let's check it out. I won't obviously say the product right now, Arturo. But I will. Wait, where did you send it, Arturo? Oh, Messenger? Here it is. It depends. What's the CPC? So search. Oh, wait, never mind. You have it right there. Yeah, I don't love the cost per click. That's going to be up there, bro. If you're spending, because you got to add like 20% to that. So if you're spending $3 per cost or per click on a $30 product, that is rough in my opinion. Total revenue seems weirdly low considering average revenue is 17K for total revenue to only be 297K. I'm not sure if you set that filter after the 200 review filter or before, but it should be before. I don't love the CPC on that product. You heard that, right, Arturo? Just want to make sure, because if not, then I'll just leave that at the... You think it's still a good time to jump into FBA while tariffs are around? I'm going to wait it out a month. Listen, man, I can't tell you when the right time for you to start a business is. And the only thing that I can say is this. A few things. Number one, there's the quote, the best time to start selling on Amazon was 6 months ago. The second best time to start selling is now. Another thing is a lot of people try to time the bottom of the market. But what is the missed opportunity cost of trying to time the bottom of the market? Most people will miss the bottom and miss certain opportunities. I know that we're not talking about stocks here, but I just wanted to hopefully give some context. So maybe you waited out a month, or maybe if because you waited out a month, tariffs could increase to 200%. You know, you have Kevin O'Leary talking about, and this is a guy who gets a lot of products from China, by the way, Shark Tank investor. He's calling for 400% tariffs. Not that he has any say in it, but, you know, there's people who want higher tariffs. So you wait a month, maybe it's higher, and now you have to, you know, navigate even higher tariffs. So I can't tell you when the right time to start is, but I can tell you that we can't necessarily predict what is going to happen with the markets, with the tariffs. You know, there was people, for example, who started fear selling their S&P or their Dow, their crypto, and then all of a sudden it goes back up and they probably are buying in at a higher price than they originally got in at. Why do I bring that up? You can't time the market. Some people will get lucky, others will not. Patrick, thank you for the follow. If you have brand registry, can you Vine program a couple of listings or only one? Any product that's brand registered under your brand registry. How much are your 101s? What do you mean by 101s? Thanks, bro. Of course. How does AWD work? It's where you're able to store some of your products at Amazon's different side of Amazon's warehouses. That's not the fulfillment side, and it's for a lower storage cost than if your product was sitting at Amazon's fulfillment center. He said, China, geez, people who don't do business with China will tell him he's wrong. Yeah, bro. You know, anybody who does business with China understands what he's saying and exactly what you said. Anyone who doesn't. This is why I don't necessarily think good, bad. We have to see how things play out. And I'm just giving a very hypothetical scenario here. This doesn't mean that this is what's going to happen. But what happens if, you know, China folds with the negotiations? They drop the tariffs and they start adhering to the international rules of like protecting patents and not stealing intellectual property on things that have international patents, et cetera, which from my understanding was one of the agreements of us doing business with them in that degree. Things in life are not always linear, so we'll see how it plays out. That's all I can say. We will see how it plays out. I would avoid the headlines and the fear mongering, and just all you could do is see how it plays out. Tools for Amazon Australia. Helium 10 should work in Australia. Alice, thank you so much for the follow. Profit on that account 40%. I don't know much about FBA, but when doing Amazon FBA, do you advertise your listing or does Amazon do that? You advertise your product on Amazon. Why do you teach people how to make money in the same way you won't it give you competition? Well, number one, Notre, I'm not going to teach people how to make money in something that I don't understand, because that wouldn't make any sense. That's like the college professor teaching people how to start a business who's never started a business. That's number one. Number two, I've been making content, teaching people how to sell on Amazon for years now. And not once has somebody come in and said, hey, Luke, I'm going to launch the same exact product that you've been selling. So Amazon is abundant. There are quite literally tens of thousands of products to sell, different markets, different sub-markets of markets. You have water bottles, you have disposable water bottles, you have metal water bottles, you have insulated water bottles, you have plastic water bottle. You know what I mean? There's just of one product, multiple different sub-markets. You have not heated, but the ones that the water bottles that keep drinks cold, the ones that keep drinks hot. And each one of these are sub-markets within a bigger market. And then apply that across thousands of products. You have different kinds of wall art. You have different kinds of LED lights. You have studio lights. You have the TikTok style lights. You have professional studio lights and all the different tiers, which all fall under different subcategories. The world is abundant, you guys. It's the same reason why my cousins taught me how to sell on Amazon when I was the manager for their company, and they benefited far more me being the manager at their company than me creating a business that would 1 year later result in me quitting their business. Bizarre, thank you so much for the follow. There's a reason why people see off brands or knockoffs, they instantly think made in China. Exactly. I was watching an episode of Shark Tank and I forgot which two brands, but two of the sharks were talking about how two of the biggest Shark Tank investments, which they were both investments in, had lost tens of millions of dollars to knockoffs. Damon John, the founder of Fubu, For Us, By Us, was talking about, Fubu did, $1 billion plus in top line revenue, and they probably lost $500 million to knockoffs. Think about that. And somehow the US is the bad guy because we implemented, you know, tariffs on a country who implements tariffs on us, number one, and also doesn't adhere to fair trade or IP rules. So it's like, oh, so bad. There's US companies, you guys, who are very happy about what's going on. So it's not a blanket answer to, oh, it's bad for everybody. It's like the Chinese proverb, good, bad, maybe, maybe not. What are the sales number for you today? Let's get to 3K likes and 30 shares, and I'll show live sales for the day. Can I sell them without receipts? Sell what? How much did you spend on ads for your first product ever? I don't know exactly the dollar amount, but I know I was profitable. My tacos was profitable. Why is dropshipping not a good idea? Who said that? It's just not for me. There's dropshippers who are crushing it. You guys should never listen to somebody on the internet what is good and not good for you. Do you know who there's people who can make suggestions. There's people who can, maybe inspire you to go start a certain business model, but never let anybody on the internet say what is good for you or bad. And I have my opinions on business models, by the way. Like, I don't like arbitrage. I'm not a fan of drop shipping. I'm not a fan of Amazon wholesale. I like Amazon private label. But that doesn't mean that these other ones don't work. And anytime you ever hear someone say, like I heard, I'll say this person by name because he's a bigger fish, I'm a small fish. I saw Tom Cruise stitch a video say, blah, 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 Amazon doesn't work anymore. Who says Amazon doesn't work anymore? Brother, there's people who, and I know this guy's crushing it, but there are quite literally Amazon sellers who make him look like a small fish. There are new Amazon sellers who are coming in and making more money than the business model that he's teaching Section 8, and vice versa. Life is not linear. It is full circle. So you guys don't ever listen to anybody on the internet like that. And yes, Amazon requires receipts for you to sell branded products. Not receipts. You have to get an invoice from an official wholesaler or distributor. Also, I'm supporting the YouTube algorithm in case TikTok goes away. God bless you, Chris. I appreciate it. Everybody in the YouTube chat live, make sure you like it. We got multiple people in here and we got 0 likes on the live. So everybody make sure that you drop a like. I hope you guys do that every time because it does help out quite a lot. No, I don't know who that is. Eco. Luke, what's the best category for a second product? I mean, what's your first category in? There's good, as I'm sure you just saw with your first product, you found a product in a certain category and you'd be able to potentially find products in other categories. Do you want to create a brand with the same category or do you want to launch multiple different products? Working with China right now, waiting for shipping quote. Nice. Make sure you're calculating tariffs now. How do you I don't know what you mean by that case. Do you do private label? I do. Man, yeah, I don't know what you mean by moat. I do private label, brother, so I'm struggling in sales. How do we do a one-on-one? I only do one-on-ones for my mentorship students, Honda. I can trust manufacturing to quote accurate shipping DDP. Yes, but also get quotes from different freight forwarders as well. Your freight forwarder will be your best friend during these times of tariffs, everybody, just for context. Work with your manufacturer, work with your freight forwarder to try to alleviate some of these costs that we will be seeing with tariffs. Find other manufacturing options. Start getting quotes from manufacturers in India, Pakistan, the European Union. My first product just arrived on FBA. Can you give me some tips on first sales on private label? Start building up your reviews, Alex. Reviews are everything. You got to push for reviews and then PPC ads. Jay, you got to see how I really don't think you abandon the product, bro. I think that you try anything and everything, because as soon as it's kind of like, think of it how you were in the beginning stages. There was things that were not going right, and you kind of had to look at it from a broad perspective, and you started to analyze it, and you're like, okay, how do I plug in some of these gaps? You plugged in some of those gaps, and then you saw an increase in sales. You saw you saw optimizations actually take place, and how that benefited your product. So now you have to do the same thing. I don't think it's any different just because it's a different product or a different problem. Excuse me. We also got to get to 30 shares, y'all, and I will show live Amazon sales for the day. Before shipment is closed, from experience, would you say it's normal to see no sales? Well, it has nothing to do with the shipment being closed or not, so that's irrelevant. It has everything to do with your product listing. Did you get reviews? Are you running ads, structured ads? Are you testing your conversion? You guys, I've said this before. Some people really don't like when I say this, but I think it's important to understand. If I want to become an Amazon seller, the absolute bare minimum that I need to do to be an Amazon seller, selling a product on Amazon, is launch a product on Amazon. So everybody who just simply launches a product on Amazon and is like, why am I not at 10K sales? Because you only did the bare minimum to be officially an Amazon seller. What world do we live in where doing the bare minimum makes you successful? Did Steve Jobs do the bare minimum? Did Phil Knight, the owner of Nike, do the bare minimum? Did Jeff Bezos, the founder of the platform that we're selling on, do the bare minimum? No. You got to push for reviews. You have to run PPC ads. You have to start collecting data. Are your ads performing good? Expand on that strategy. Is your conversion not good? You need to optimize. And most people will just throw up some ads, throw up a random product, let it run. They're in the red because they're not converting well. They blame Amazon for their lack of effort. And then you have those people who have sold and failed on Amazon who are screaming from the rooftops, it's a scam, it doesn't work, people don't make money. Meanwhile, there's thousands of people every year who will successfully sell and launch products on Amazon. Okay, so thank you for sharing the live. Sent to some homies. Let's go. We'll show live Amazon sales now. All right, maybe you can buy 7,000 items. Pet supplies double feeding for no, why would you buy 7,000 units? That literally doesn't make any sense. What are your products? I don't share my products for obvious reasons. The obvious reasons being that 99.9% of people who ask me what products that I sell want to know because they see the success that I have with those products and would like to go and launch those products. So it makes zero sense for me to share my products that I sell or my brand names online. My problem is I want to start all my ideas at once because I want to be rich by 30. I'm 24. I mean, brother, you got to start one thing and you build from there. I didn't get rich from 30 businesses. I became financially free from one business. And then I expanded and built more businesses and investments and stuff like that. Focus on one thing, become a pro at that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron James, well, I was about to say Michael, but he did two sports. But even then, we don't know Michael Jordan for the great things that he did playing basketball. He was a pro in basketball. Did I say basketball already? I meant baseball. But we know him for basketball. Find a lane, stick to it. I actually just recorded a YT video this last weekend. I won't tell you guys the title, but I'll tell you one of the things I talk about in the video is that actually, just stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to the YT. Abraham, thank you for the follow. Can you start FBA with 350? You can start arbitrage with 350, not private label, the business model that I do. Okay, let's pull up sales for the day. Been a while. Oh no, don't do this to me. Okay, I think I have to. Oh, just kidding. We're good. Just kidding. I thought I had to put in the authenticator code again, which meant I would have had to pause the live, but we're good. We're good. What's private label, like your own product? Yes. Burger Factory, thank you for the follow. T Good, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. YT, I can't see your comments if you guys are leaving them right now because I am showing sales. All right, so this is today. Yesterday. Last 7 days. Last 30 days. So close. Oh, we actually dropped a little bit since the last time I showed that, but we're getting close. And we do custom. We'll update to the screenshot. Which type of product? Get huge numbers on sales on Amazon every year. Share it. I mean, there's lots of products, brother. You got to do product research and find them. Bro, you do what I do in a month, in a day. You'll get there, Jay. You will get there. What are your thoughts on using Amazon shipping? I'm not a fan. My freight forwarder always beats Amazon shipping. How many countries do you sell by Amazon? Well, main market is US. Those sales US. And we focus there, but sell in a few countries, Mexico, Canada. Let's go. Also, y'all, while you guys are continuing to ask your questions, make sure you drop them down below because this is going to be probably the last live for the week. So get your questions in now because I am going away tomorrow on another little trip. It is going to be a very busy week and month with some trips. Just got back from one this week from the weekend, going on another one Thursday to Monday, and then another one, let me see, the 25th to the 27th, get back the 28th, and then leave from the 29th to like far into May because we'll be there for about a month. Oh, wow, still crushing it on Amazon, baby. How did you feel when you first started in revenue? Like, wow, I can do this. 100%. I felt, wow, I can do this before I even started making sales. Like I was on a good one when I started. I was on a good wave. I had really good energy around me. Like, not trying to sound like a hippie or anything, but like really good vibes around me, which never made me think negative thoughts. I wasn't thinking about failing. I wasn't thinking about what could go wrong. I was only thinking about what could go right. Naive? Maybe. But my very first product on Amazon was successful. So call it what you want, but the formula worked for me. And yeah, when I made that very first sale, it was like, wow, this is crazy. I haven't talked about this for a while, but I celebrated all of my little wins. Like, I feel like just because of the internet nowadays, people are like, they'll make $100 day in sales, and they're like, what the heck? I launched and I'm not making $10,000 a day yet. What's going on? I celebrated my first $100. I celebrated my first sale. I celebrated my first $100 day. I celebrated my first $250 day. Why? I don't know. There was just certain markers in my head. My first $500 day, my first $800 day, my first $1,000 day, every single time was celebrated. When I got the #1 bestseller badge less than a month into me selling my first product, I remember I was at work because I was still working for my cousins. And I was at work. I was still also sleeping on my best friend's couch, which is kind of like a trippy thing to think about. Like, the sales on my phone were 10K in top line revenue. That wasn't profit. And I had to reinvest my profits back into the business. And I had a #1 bestseller badge, but I was still working a 9-to-5 job and sleeping on my best friend's couch and didn't have a car or license. But I remember I was living with my best friend and then his brother, and then they also had a roommate. And I remember texting them. I was like, boys, I sent them a screenshot. I was like, #1 bestseller. And at this point, I had gave up like the partying and the drinking and all of that stuff. And it was a Tuesday. I remember it was a Tuesday. I don't remember the exact date, but I do remember it was a Tuesday. And one of my buddy's brother was like, so we pop in the champagne. And it was kind of against all of my, this is how you do it. Sorry, I had to mute somebody so they can sit in the live like a good little boy. Anyways, he's like, so we pop in some champagne, and I'm like, let's get it, baby. And I get home from work. It was like 9:30. We celebrated. It was such a happy moment. Celebrate all your wins, ladies and gentlemen. Amazon, is it available in Africa? Yes, some countries. Can you make a video on how to make one of your working PPC campaigns? Honda, I have lots of videos on it on my YT channel, on my TikTok page. Products having high reviews versus products having low reviews. What would you sell in lower average reviews? Always. I launched 2 days ago and I have 2K impressions, 20 clicks, but no conversions. Do you have any reviews, Leo? This account, John, is a 40% margin. Any product name, please. Guys, I'm not here to give out free products. You're in the wrong live if that's the case. In fact, you're in the wrong live if you're expecting anybody to give you a free product. Because anybody who's just going to give a product out on a live, it's not a good product. I can promise you that. In fact, anybody, you guys, straight up, anybody that ever hears somebody give out a free product, send me a message. Send me what the product is and I'll debunk it in 5 minutes. In 2 minutes, actually. There will be nobody who gives you a good product that's actually a good product to launch. Like, for example, in my case, why would I ever do that when I could either launch the product or give it to one of my students in the product selection program, where I select my students' products for them based on the criteria I use and teach. I've made multiple videos on what a good product market looks like on Amazon, but if anyone ever watches till the end, there's always a caveat. And I've debunked multiple Amazon seller creators, whatever you want to call them's videos, who are like, here's a great product to sell on Amazon. No, it's not. And I'll show you exactly why with numbers. They're like, oh, this one seller is making 10K a month. Yeah, but the average price isn't good. The average reviews isn't good. The cost per click is too high. Like, every metric of the product is not good. Meanwhile, you have people, for views strictly, who are sitting here telling you, here's a good product to sell. Here's a good product to sell. In fact, this was such a popular video strategy back in like 2020, 2021. But then there was also a lot of people, including myself, who were debunking those kind of videos. And you notice now a lot of those people check themselves, they mind their P's and Q's, they have to restructure the way that they talk about those videos. Why? Because nobody is actually going to give you a good product to sell. Let's take it a step further. For all of those people who are doing arbitrage and wholesale, that makes even less sense. We're all going to sell on the same listing. I can't create my own listing. I can't differentiate the product. I have to win the buy box in order for me to get the sales. But then you have these guys selling lead lists where everybody's getting the same lead list. If I have 1,000 people on a lead list and there's 10 products on the list, and let's say that there's going to be 50 people who launch in each product, there's going to quite literally not be 50 competitors in the market, be 50 competitors on the same listing competing for the same buy box, not able to stand out. I can't do anything different. I'm not going to push for more reviews to increase conversion. I'm not going to run ads to, maybe target some of my competitors. No, it's like just this weird bottleneck. Meanwhile, everybody's looking for the easy route. And that's why, arbitrage and wholesale are the more popular business models, because you have those cats who are making it sound like it's easier. And that's why there's people in my live every single day asking for free products, because everybody's looking for the easy route. Everyone wants the bare minimum. Let me launch a product on Amazon and I'm going to become a millionaire. When remember, if you want to be an Amazon seller selling a product on Amazon, the absolute bare minimum thing that you would have to do is launch a product on Amazon. Meanwhile, people want to get rich by doing the bare minimum. Tell me a world where that makes sense. I'm going to be as good as LeBron, but I'm going to be the most bare minimum athlete in the world. I'm going to be as good as John Jones, but I'm not going to train. I'm going to be the most, all I'm going to do is step into the ring. The bare minimum that I have to do to be a fighter, step into the ring, that's what I'm going to do. You'll never win. And so for some people, I went on the rant, we lost half the audience. Some people are like, I don't like what this guy's saying. And they're going to be like, I don't like what he's saying. I'm going to stay in my echo chamber, and boom. And I hope for the half that stayed, because that's the only half that I care about, I hope some of you guys heard that and are like, oh man, I really have to reframe my thinking here. The other half is going to disregard what I said, go do exactly what I said not to do. They're going to fail, and then they're going to blame Amazon as to why they failed. Can you explain how PPC campaigns help getting the buy box? It doesn't. I also own the buy box because I do private label. Should new person start if you have interest in selling products on the largest e-commerce platform in the world? Yes. How much capital did you invest into your business plan, and how many months did you work on it? I didn't have a business plan. From not knowing anything about how to start an Amazon business to having a product live, it was 4 months. And I started with $4,900, but I also started with a supplement that was manufactured in the US, so my cost was a little bit higher. I also paid for some lab tests on the product. Why would you choose having a product with low reviews? Because there's going to be less established competition. There's going to be more low reviewed sellers on page one who are performing well. You'll find with high average review markets, there's not low reviewed sellers performing well on page one. Where do you want to be? Page one. What are you going to be? A low reviewed seller. Bro, Amazon is way harder than people think it is. I am a seller since 5 years. I think that selling on Amazon is simple, but I do agree with you. Actually, I don't like the wording on how you said, but I understand what you're saying. I don't think Amazon is way harder than people think. I think it requires a lot more effort than people anticipate, and that goes for everything in life. I used to be, I'm human, so I'm in the same boat sometimes too, where I think I need to put in X amount of effort, but you really need to put in 10X. That was more so in my early days when I was younger. I'm still young, but younger than I am now. Yeah, if you stick to the fundamentals, if you work hard, you can get it. You can achieve this success. Is it guaranteed? No, but you got to work for it. Do you find that your products sell better when customized to your preference, or generic is better? Always stand out, differentiate, and add value into the market. Always, 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 always. Facts, facts, facts. What up, Airstick? One of the mentorship students. How do I get more reviews if I have a generic product? I mean, people leave reviews if you're doing private label. Generic has nothing to do with your product getting reviews. Has tariffs affected where you source your products from now? And if So what have you done about it? We're looking into other manufacturing options, India, Pakistan. It's going to be product to product basis because not every country is going to manufacture what you want. We're working with our freight forwarding companies to work some things out for the tariffs as well. And also contacting sourcing agents. I'm in the process of creating a global logistics sourcing service for my students. And so we're actually in the process of testing that out, meaning that we are getting quotes from multiple different countries, multiple different manufacturers. I'm not too worried about the tariffs long term. It's going to be some growing pains. Most of the people you hear crying from the rooftops about it are people who are not business owners. A lot of the business owners that I see, a lot of the veteran business owners that I see, people who are just starting, that doesn't count. You haven't gone through enough seasons of business yet, I've been through the world shutting down. I've been through an alleged recession. I don't think that it was like 2008. I was young then. I was 9. So I didn't live through that. I love when people can't create a following for themselves, so have to use other people's pages to solicit their stuff. His tariffs, I answered that. Also, regarding the tariffs, y'all, if you go to my TikTok profile and you go to the third to last video that I posted, I made a video how to deal with tariffs as an Amazon seller. Second to last video, how to find manufacturers in other countries instead of China. And third to last video, different countries to get products manufactured. So if you haven't seen those videos, I highly recommend checking them out because it's going to give you a lot of context on how to navigate these new tariffs. We have to assume that they're here to stay, but I don't think it's going to be the end all be all. X-Men, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Adrian, check out the AMC Masterclass mentorship program in the TikTok bio. If you apply there and qualify for the program, you'll be prompted to book a call with the team where they will be able to answer any questions that you have about the program. They speak for me. It's not like a sales force or anything like that. They're actually students in the program who have been successfully selling on Amazon, and just because they love the program so much and support it, they are now doing onboarding calls for me. Aiko, thank you so much for sharing the live. Y'all, if there are no more questions, even though it was a shorter live, I got lots of things to do before my trip. So, Adrian, like I said, hop on the call with the team and they'll be able to answer any questions that you have about the program. We no longer publicly disclose that just for some certain back-end reasons. That being said, if you guys don't have any more questions, then today I'm not going to just be going and yapping because I got lots of things to do before I get ready for the trip tomorrow. So make sure you guys go show some love to the last few TikTok videos. And if you guys like the lives, like the videos, and want a more in-depth guide on all things Amazon and to have me as your Amazon mentor along your entire journey, be sure to check out the AMZ Masterclass Mentorship Program in the TikTok bio. Genuinely, the Harvard of Amazon FBA private label education. There is a reason why I quite literally have had students join my program after originally joining every single private label program that you can think of on the internet. Why, if you joined a program that you felt like it was sufficient, would you join another program and spend extra money? You wouldn't. Why do my students not go over to other mentorship programs? Because it's enough. It is sufficient, and it is why I call it the Harvard of Amazon FBA private label education, everybody. On that note, I hope everyone has a blessed rest of your week, a good night. I don't know if I'll be going live just because I will be traveling, but if I do, it will be a little surprise. So Like I said, have a blessed night, and I will see y'all soon. YouTube, same thing. Be sure to check out the AMZ Masterclass Mentorship. God bless.